Hi, everybody. This is day 1308, and I'm going on to Facebook to see if I'm live. And yeah, okay, here we go. All right, so I had a post up there that was like, oh, geez, okay. Yeah, I just posted a meme of John Briggs saying Bill Hicks who. Um, yeah, so that is up there. It's always humorous to go on there on Facebook. Not always humorous, but anyway, we're on. I see everyone on live. Thank you so much. Thank you for um, caring for this long to watch, to listen. And it's really not a dull moment ever. It's always breaking news. Yesterday, we had the breaking news of the brown tip bullets being at the scene of the August 3rd, 2019 Walmart mass shooting. That tip that came through, and if that is proven right, that needs to be investigated because those are special ops bullets. They are not really registered, counted. So, they can be easily smuggled and used and things like that. um, they're supposed to be secretive, right? Secretive. Look them up. Brown tip bullets, and they are compatible with the M4, which Glendon Oakley Jr. If you don't know who that is, you need to watch his videos. I have them on here. I have them on TikTok. If you need to know, you can write. Um, Absolutely. Matter of fact, I was thinking of him because of, you know, it's you just can't stop when you're in the position that we're in with our missing son, because things come up every day that uh, you know clarify one little area after the next, and so we're piecing everything together, and we absolutely know that Richard's case is intertwined with the Walmart mass shooting case, that the Walmart mass shooting case is absolutely not the narrative that the media gave to you, and that the operatives with the media um, pulled together to give to you. It was a production. It wasn't reality as far as the narrative goes. So yes, people did get shot. They did. They were murdered there, and but the narrative, nothing that Ernest Chris Grant said, and he was the media darling, is reliable. He's an unreliable source. He is a perpetual criminal, and for him to have the support of Beto O'Rourke, for him to have the support of Chris Cuomo, of him to have the support of the media like he had. And there's others that repeated the vile and vulgar messaging that was hypnotizing the El Pasoans into fear so that they would pass. And this is my opinion, the hundreds of millions of dollars bond, and that is exactly what it is, a bond. It's chains around the feet of El Pasoans. It is putting them into slavery because the debt is so high there, and that's why the property taxes are so high. And it's theft. It's theft because that money has to go somewhere. It goes into somebody's pocket, right? And so that Walmart mass shooting had multiple goals that it wanted to achieve. And when you realize that Richard's case came before the Walmart case, that he had pulled on a string that made Washington look into what was going on in El Paso, um, uh, that they would go to the lengths of manufacturing and um, putting together a real live mass shooting. Orchestrating, I guess orchestrating is the best word for it. They orchestrated, they colluded together, concerted effort, orchestrated a mass shooting. And they said, okay, if we're going to do a mass shooting, what goals? And this is my opinion from all of the evidence that we have. Um, if we're going to put together a mass shooting, what ends do we want to meet, right? We want certain people to be killed. We want certain money to be made off of it. We want certain political agenda met, and a certain narrative put forth to the public. And when you look at it like that, it's not me saying that, okay? This is the El Paso Police Department having to dispute what Chris Grant was saying. This is Judge in the Walmart case that sentenced Patrick Crucius to 90 back-to-back life sentences at the Alcatraz of the Rockies in Florence, Colorado, which is the highest security prison in the United States. It was him that said Patrick Crucius had a severe mental health condition, okay? Not a disease. No, this is a condition. And of course, we have it confirmed. It wasn't me, confirmed. I was just suspicious. As an educator, seeing many, many young people. I'm like, okay, does he have autism? But we have it confirmed from a very good source that Patrick Crucius is autistic. And of course, then in public records, the judge corroborates that. It's not me that's saying there's anomalies, there's irregularities with Christopher Grant and Donna Sifford, okay? And that connection that she has with those that lead to the 3905 Bliss Avenue. And, the connections to Leilani Hart getting mail at Dreams Cabaret. And what were they doing at Dreams Cabaret, right? Is it, what Oakley Jr., Glendon Oakley Jr. was saying, that the M4s, he thought that was, because there were so many of them, a response to the mass shooting in the mall. Okay, the mall cops had M4s, and he was telling CNN Wolf Blitzer that he thought that was a quick response to the mass shooting, which in fact it wasn't, because the response was much slower, and we have now the evidence, not we, but the public has the evidence put forth of the slow response, and that who were these mall cops with M4s, right? And is it a coincidence that brown tip bullets found at the scene are compatible with the M4, which is a short-barreled rifle meant for urban warfare, like the brown tip bullets are, and that they are go through walls. They go through walls. They are meant to pierce armor. Okay, they pierce body armor, because they have 70 grains in each bullet. The velocity is very fast. Normally, I think there's 62. I think that's what I read. But this has 70 grains. So, and you can go and look at all the information. You can go on military sites because they are, um, you know, the military uses those bullets, and the military uses, it's the choice for the military is M4 because they're good for urban warfare. And why? Does the military want to do urban warfare, right? Why? That's not biblical. That's absolutely not biblical. The Bible doesn't allow for urban warfare. And, it really doesn't go, Numbers has a very good description of the laws of war. And so, for a military uh, to go into an urban area is very concerning. Because what if the military turns on its own people? You can't have them prepared like that. So, and God knows the heart of man, so his laws are to safeguard um, mankind from itself, right? From itself. So that's the whole meaning of you have to die to yourself and live for God, right? Live for the Lord. That's the whole meaning of all of that, is because we really can't trust ourselves to rule ourselves, to war with ourselves, because there's so much betrayal um, when you're outside of the temple, right? So, and I have to talk like that because of this case and what I'm about to discuss with you with, um, our discussion with the Department of State there in Juarez of partial remains of Richard found in Mexico. And this has been a long effort to research uh, the areas in Mexico for Richard's remains. Um, Now, the reports are that they found them. Where are they? What happened to them? So this is the search for Richard. This is in Mexico. So this was a very big meeting for us. We wanted a few things, and one was that the picture be corrected on Interpol. That was tampered with. A tampered picture of Richard was submitted to Interpol, and we want to know who submitted that picture. We did get information that said that that picture has is gone. It's been dealt with, but we would like to know who submitted that picture in the first place to Interpol. Okay? Because our suspicion would be that it was CID, and who was in charge of CID at the time? Dirty Agent Marlon Soto, with Tavita Nusa. Dirty Agent Tavita Nusa having an adulterous sexual relationship with Leilani Hart, a suspect in the case. A suspect in the case. So, that is, and being very, very connected to Jesus Eddie Nieto Jr., who is very connected to the Bugados, right? The Bugados, who is the son-in-law of Nadal Baim, the FBI agent that confessed to a cashier at a Dollar General, that Richard's remains were found. He was dead in Juarez, Mexico. And so, for the Department of State, they um, everything that we talk to them about, their area of operation, is about Mexico, about dealing with Mexico, about diplomacy with Mexico, about security with Mexico, securing our borders, securing, if a soldier is going to be partially found as far as his remains in Mexico, they have to deal with the Department of State. And we have liaisons with the Department of State from the FBI who, are attaches that are taken from the FBI and loaned to the Department of State to be like liaisons back and forth from the United States, from the FBI, to different cases that occur over the border. And sometimes it's the Department of Homeland Security. They become also loaned out to the Department of State, and that is the role, liaison with Mexico, that would have a huge role in the search and the investigation for Richard Halliday in Mexico, and that's Jaime Corona. So we have Jaime Corona. We have that very active in the United States, very active in Mexico, and the indication from him that Richard was found in Mexico, that he was found, his remains, partial remains, were found in Mexico. So we have Nadal Baim saying Richard was dead and found in Mexico. We have Jaime Esparza indicating that Richard's partial remains were found in Mexico. We have Dolores Montanez, going to the FBI. She is former lieutenant colonel retired lieutenant colonel in the Army, and also Customs and Border Protectors. And so she is definitely feet on the ground there in El Paso and knows a lot of people. Was running for office, believes she's going to run for office again, and so she's very involved with the Rotary, with the Lions Club. She has a lot of connections, and she went to the FBI and said, I have information on Richard. Richard was killed in Mexico. So that's the first one that ever said he was killed in Mexico, that he was taken over in duress over the Santa Teresa port of entry, and then killed. And kilometer 29, we would find his remains kilometer 29. She gave those coordinates, and that needs to be researched. Then we have the Director of Emergency Services. We have he's the Chief of Security for Fort Bliss at the time, and his name is Thomas Kane. And we have him on record saying Richard was good food for the coyotes. So that was his status, is that he was dead. He was good food for the coyotes, meaning, body dumped somewhere. I mean, I don't know how else you could take that. So with Nadal Baim, with Jaime Esparza, with Dolores Montanez, with Thomas Kane, and then there is also Agent Macmillan. So Agent Macmillan from the Department of State We called him right away after we uh, submitted everything to the FBI on October 26th, the day that Nadal Baim walked into the Dollar General, and we asked Agent Macmillan if FBI was over in Mexico looking for Richard's remains. Um, and then and he absolutely confirmed that they were. So this means that, if you have a liaison working between, which is Jaime Corona, if you have a liaison working between the Americans and those from Mexico and, the government over there, then, um, they seem to know what happened to Richard. So where are his remains? And don't forget, we did receive, as from intelligence, that the three autopsies from Richard. We inquired about those autopsies, and what did they do? The judge got up and moved. Got up and moved. I don't think that's a coincidence, okay? And we haven't heard um, from the JAG since. They just, rather be very, very quiet than to answer this very, very important question about a service member that they're supposed to have their back. They're supposed to give their life for, right? That's esprit de corps. That's the Medal of Honor ethos. They are supposed to protect the service members in selfless service. They're supposed to be, one army, an army of one, right? An army of one, leave no soldier behind. So, the betrayal, the continuous betrayal of their duties is what is hurting our military. And this becomes a national security threat. When there is no esprit de corps, when there is no Medal of Honor ethos, when there is no army of one and leave no soldier behind, an army strong, um, you know, that word gets out very, very quickly. And then that's why the recruiting is so low, because they know that the advertisements are lies, and that they are just going to be sitting ducks in the military and be taken advantage of, because they've all heard about our unsecured military installations. They've heard that the barracks are marketplaces for illegal drugs, that they have to live in that, right? That they have to live within that drug pit. And not only with drugs, but that they have unregistered weapons, that they're flush with unregistered weapons. And things haven't changed, because we still get reports that there are unregistered weapons in the barracks, and that the barracks is full of weapons. And of course, are they full of brown tip bullets, right? And so if they are so careless in the barracks, that even a 14-year-old girl could be living in there being pimped out to the soldiers all night long. I mean, can you imagine? It's just horrible, horrible, child torture. Um, and, with the pornography running wild, and the pedophilia running wild, this is these are unsecured military installations that we pay millions and millions and millions and billions of dollars for. And so it's really is not just about Richard Halliday. This is about every American um, knowing what is going on in our military, that we have generals, because there's no other person that can answer for this. We have generals like Major General Eisenhower that has betrayed us, that has thwarted their duty, violated their oath, and over and over and over again. And this is why we have Richard missing and murdered. This is why we have Asia Graham raped and dead. And this is why we have Glendon Oakley Jr. being a hero, being retaliated against so continuously, so severely, that on April 8th, 2020, he was also found dead in his barracks. No protection, just unsecured military installation. Well, that same thing is happening at the border. That same thing is happening at our American border, and in this case, between El Paso and Juarez. And a big part of that is what's going on at the Attorney General's office there in Chihuahua, Mexico, right there in Juarez, where we went into that building, and Rob, um, filled in a missing persons report for Richard, and our son Robert went over there because he is Richard's biological brother, and gave blood and all kinds of information about Richard so that we could find Richard. But that information was tampered with, intentionally tampered with, okay? In that Attorney General's office, it is not secure. It's a security risk. And with the Department of State and with the FBI being, led by Nieto, who has conflicts of interest and also was actively working to thwart the search and investigation of Richard with Dirty Agent Marlon Soto. And, and to see that the Mexican Attorney General's office in Chihuahua is also intentionally thwarting this search and investigation into Richard, and to know that there's even more going on that we have discovered. So and I don't even know if I should mention Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia. I don't even know if I should mention her, because this is a breach in security. This is, absolutely a threat to the United States of America, what is going on here, okay? And it is, when Richard pulled on a string, wow. He pulled on a very criminal syndicate, criminal enterprise string, and wow. So this is why this is taking so long. This is why you've seen so many roadblocks. This is why you've seen powerless, absolutely powerless representation in our government to do anything about this, because it involves our military. They are absolutely, when the generals are not on your side, when they're compromised, because they're absolutely compromised. When the generals are compromised, then we're in big trouble, because they are our defense. And that means that we have a security breach, that we are left wide open. And that is why the border is allowed to be wide open with these security breaches for the United States, and that people are pouring in, and that, was this their intention all along, to make it so uncomfortable for our soldiers, our service members, to volunteer, that the word would get out, and to have this low of recruiting, that when they would bring over these foreign young people that are military age from all over the country, illegal, and offer them legal residence if they serve in the military, creating a foreign military, a military made of individuals that might not know the language, do not know the culture, do not have any loyalties, no family here, and to put M4s in their hands with brown tipped bullets. Now, this is a security threat to the United States. And, I just can't even tell you how surprised we are that in the pursuit of the search for our son, and to see the sabotage from the very agencies that we've trusted to care for our son, to care for our military, to care for our service members, our volunteer sons and daughters, and to see them betray that and actively work to sabotage the search and recovery, the search and investigation into our son, into a missing soldier. Um, no matter what the case, to see them, in the CID, in the MPs, to have key members in the IG, because don't forget that it is 3-star General Donna Martin who met with us as a 2-star on Fort Bliss without an op board in her civilian clothing, held a task force Find Richard Halliday meeting that was staged because there was no op board. And that's why you have seen such chaos in this case, where no orders are given, and not official, because she was not in uniform, and just spending our millions and billions of dollars that we give to our military in fraud, waste, and abuse. Fraud, waste, and abuse to serve foreign and domestic enemies. That is what happened. And to see Sean Bernabe, who's a 3-star general now, participate in that. Of course, General McConville, who's retired now, but participated in it. Mealy, absolutely bless it all. And the destruction of our military, absolutely on so many levels. He is such a failed leader, and yet J.P. Morgan Chase hires him. Hires a failed leader who loses billions of dollars in Afghanistan, trillions of dollars in Afghanistan, I should say, and doesn't even know how to make a proper exit, and they hire him. That's very, very telling. Who would hire such a man, right? Who would hire such a man? So the betrayal is huge. So here I am, telling everyone on a live stream. And of course, our live streams are very limited. Count yourselves one of the few, one of the lucky few, to understand what's going on in this battle for righteousness, in this battle for our country. And please share. Please share, because that is a maneuver. That is a maneuver in this battle, is to share, is to comment, is to make people aware of what happened really in the Walmart case. Do your research. It's out there. They've tried to block it a lot, but do your research and trust what your instincts are when you look at the pictures, and that I can tell you we have confirmed that the narrative is false, and that this was a deliberate orchestration of a mass shooting to divert attention, to act against political rivals, and more, and capitalize off of it, and more. So this is really important for people to understand, and that Richard's case came first, and that was one of the reasons. His complaints were one of the reasons why they wanted to divert attention from them. And it's the same people that are involved in the disappearance and murder of our son than in the Walmart mass shooting. Same people. And, when you connect Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia and her son, Thomas Hoffman, to the disappearance of our son, and they are absolutely all over the news. Um, yeah, with the Walmart case, this is not by accident. This is not by accident. If they are going to target our son's case, if they, um, and their residence is 3905 Bliss Avenue, the same residence as Danae Katzen, the credit card girl, the con artist that came up to us, and they sauce you. They sauce you with some kindness, or like they care about you and everything, but really what they are just up to no good. Up to no good. They're deceivers. They are deceivers. So, yeah, the evidence is overwhelming. Absolutely overwhelming. So if you're watching now, if you are watching, just count yourself as one of the happy few, the band of brothers, to share, to tell people about this, to write your congressman, to write your congresswoman, to participate in the exposure with the exposure of this criminal enterprise with the highest level that you can, so that we can drive them to do the right thing. Because we don't have time to wait for certain people to get into office. We have to do this with what we have. And the system will allow it. If the people care, the system allows it. And that is it's the esprit de corps of America. That is what can overcome this criminal enterprise. It's the esprit de corps of America, the true love for our country, for our service members, and that will drive the media to cover this, right? That will drive the media to cover this, and then that will absolutely give us victory. So thank you so much for sharing. Also, the votes are coming up pretty soon. I do not recommend Bill Hicks. Okay, I do not recommend Bill Hicks. I am, I have really looked into Alma Trejo, the judge that helped Richard, and I'm very happy to report that she, just pray for her. I hope that she wins for the next district attorney. Just pray for her, and pray that she will honor our country and honor that position if she gets it. So that, I just wanted to end with that. This is not about politics. This is about letting you know what I know, and to do all the reasons why the other ones that we have evidence that they're not trustworthy, So this is about trying to find Richard. The district attorney's office is very important because they are the prosecutors of the crime. And what we have right now is John Briggs in there that needs to be fired. He needs to be arrested because he allows the murderers to walk. He allows the murderers to walk. And what happened with the Walmart case, the murderers have walked. And there's no doubt in my mind. So thank you so much, everyone. And in Richard's case, we'll see. We'll see. We're still working on that one. Okay, so thank you so much. And I think we're still working on the Walmart case because they're one and the same. So if we have victory of accountability in Richard's case, it will give all the victims, and there's so many of them, for the Walmart case, also a victory. So thank you. God bless you. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye.